Hello and welcome back to Ekasala Unfiltered. I'm your host, Zach Ekasala, and today is not live, as you can see, but the next scheduled live show will be this Friday at 5 p.m., where I will be diving into the remainder of the Stranger Things season 5, episodes 5, 6, 7, and tentatively 8 if I have time. But today is a little different. I guess I'm doing a Ekasala Unfiltered Mini, you could call it, recording. Um, because I just want to talk about the film and media conversation after the Stranger Things, the big old bad Stranger Things season 5. Because I think that the reaction to this season is indicative of a shift in the conversation about film and TV on a broad scale. One of the things I noticed is that a lot of the general audience and general fans were doing a lot of deep dive criticism of the show, specifically writing mechanics, inconsistent characters, plot holes, even things like noticing how bad the XR stage looked, which is still like newish technology and not everyone is attuned to how it looks, but a lot of people were noticing, which think is pretty significant. Um, I just think, like I said, I think this show and this season and its reception is indicative of a shift in how media and how film and TV is being talked about. It seems like people are wising up to the slop, to the bad writing, to the inconsistencies, um, as opposed to just seeing a movie or seeing a show and just basing it off of feel, which is what a lot of people do. Like a lot of your general audience will just go, go to veg out watching an action movie, or just go to see like superficial stuff, which is fine. There's no problem with doing that, obviously, but it is crazy how many people with the show like it seemed like the whole world was wise to the writing. It was beautiful. It warmed my heart to see so many people like pick apart the stuff that normally I pick apart and no one like thinks about. I guess not. I don't want to sound pretentious, like Mr. Zach knows everything about movies. No, I don't. But it's nice to see, like, it's like, oh my god, you're getting it too. It's nice to be able to talk with people about the stuff that I talk about, because I feel like I I mean, if I did an 8 hour live stream where I went to the bathroom just once when I just talked about Stranger Things and the writing. Not many people do that. It's not really, you know, maybe I'm a bit of a freak for doing that, but I don't care. But it was cool to see so many people like have the same issues that I had. It was just cool. It was just cool. So, and I think it's cool. It's cool that people are like that more and more. Just general audiences are being hypercritical, which is what we need. If we're gonna get away from this culture of slop movies and slop shows, we need everyone to be pushing back. Everyone. Uh, and another to add to this point, a lot of these critiques were objective. Objective. I said it. The word. The evil word. Objective. Objective criticism. Uh, I know a lot of people out there don't like that word, and they don't like it in conjunction with art and talking about art. I know. I know that everyone in the world, a lot of people want to think that all art is subjective and it's all about how you feel and all that stuff, but it's not. I mean, some art is lends itself to being judged based off of subjective feelings or guidelines than other art. Like I think like painting and drawing, things like that, a little more attuned to being like a subjective. Like if you're an abstract artist, it's more about how you feel about the art. I think more than like if you're looking at like classical work or like very traditional style painting or drawing, where you can dive into like what makes it objectively good or bad. And I'm not saying objective. When I say objectively good, I don't mean that they're. I don't mean like it is or it isn't. You're always striving to the line or not, because obviously there's no like line. It's not possible, because like objective isn't, when you talk about objective reality, what even is that? Like you can't say that there is like a solid objective way of how something is per se. Like maybe if you want to get down to the molecules of like life or like things like that, sure. When you want to get scientific about it, but when you're talking about writing and writing inconsistencies, you can still strive to an objective standard. And when I say objective standard and when I say something is objectively good, I mean it's striving to a high objective quality. Not that it necessarily is the standard. I hope that is coming across correctly. Uh, but like I said, a lot of people hate that. A lot of people don't like that. They want us to think that, oh, it's my opinion if something is good or bad, and it's all about how I feel. Well, if I want to know about why something makes me feel the way that I feel, I don't want to just be like, it was good because it made me feel happy inside. Like, okay, tell me why. Like I want to know why. In a conversation, a conversation that's just about your subjective feelings about something is so boring. Are you kidding? We're just gonna talk about how much I loved something or didn't like something just because I didn't like it. That's what a boring way to talk about anything. Like, let's get into the meat of it. Come on, let's talk about it. Uh, and that was a huge thing I was seeing with all these fans and just like general like I said, just your general average Joe, average Jane. They were getting into this kind of stuff, which is a little abnormal for so many people to be doing. Uh, which brings me to another point. I think that the the broader populace of movie watchers has been tricked. They have been tricked for a long time. I think that they are not like if they don't understand a movie or if they don't understand like an Oscar winning movie or something of that nature, that it means that they're just not smart enough to understand it, or like they don't get it. Not maybe not they're not smart enough, but they don't get it. That it must be good. They just don't understand. No, you're wrong. You're not giving yourself enough credit. I promise. Like, yeah, let's say, like, I'm assuming right now, I'm talking to some pretty level-headed people, right? I'm assuming you're a level-headed guy or gal out there who's watching this. So, I don't think like if you're going to like a really artsy movie and you don't get it, you come away from it being confused or like you don't understand what to think about it. There's a good chance it was a bad movie. Great chance it was a bad movie. Like what? You're like just really think about it. If you're going to a movie and you come away and you don't have any idea what you just saw, you can't piece anything together. You can't even piece together the theme or like anything. It's probably bad. It's probably inconsistent. Probably just doesn't make sense because whoever made it didn't make a movie that made sense. And I'm not saying all movies have to always make sense. I'm just saying that there should be like if your audience doesn't even know what to make of it, or have you even made anything like good per se? Maybe I'm entering some dangerous territory with saying that. But like if we're telling, because like we're storytelling at the end of the day, right? I'd say that most films are telling a story, correct? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's all just a spectacle. If you're gonna film something for spectacle, that's like its own category. But if we're filming movies that are telling stories, and you come away from whatever movie it is, let's say it's just like X movie, you come away from that X movie, and you don't understand it, it's probably bad. And if you rewatch it, it makes sense. Maybe it does make sense, and you just didn't get it. That's possible. But if you're like, I did not get that at all, nothing made sense, I didn't know what it was trying to say, blah 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 blah, probably bad. But these writers, these directors, the studios, no, they're tricking you, because they're coming from this high hoity-toity, artsy fartsy like position where everything is it's about how you feel and it's about this or that or blah 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 blah, and it's like where was that in the movie? You didn't put any of that in the movie. Why are you telling me? I don't want to read an article or a book or hear you give me a lecture about your movie for it to make sense. I don't want to if I have to watch a movie I don't want my movies to come with dictionaries. Thank you very much. I mean, like, come on. Like that's like the art of it. If you're a good storyteller and a good filmmaker at that, all these ideas, these themes, all these things should be evident in your movie, in your film. either through dialogue, through a little bit of exposition, but mostly like a weave of visual storytelling, like subtle, good dialogue, and like minor exposition or like well written exposition, like environmental exposition or things like that. Not you after the fact when someone's like, I don't understand, and then you have to explain them this long paragraph about how it was about how you were traumatized when you were a child or whatever. Like, okay, sure, that story might be impactful to you. Why isn't it on the screen? Like, why isn't this on the screen? Because they're scamming you. It's a scam. These people are scamming you. I think that that type of scene, and that's not even like Marvel. Obviously, isn't like Marvel's pretty. Marvel and DC, like a lot of the movies coming out now are just slop. It's just like formula slop. Things just don't make sense. Things just like happen because the plot needs it to happen. That kind of bad. But then there's another level of bad where they're really trying to mess with you and trick you, and are these these high and mighty art people types, these like starving artist types that make these like Oscar bait films, like these Oscar bait films where like you're supposed to, it's shot on film, and it's got really dramatic lighting or like noir or whatever the hell it is, and you got these like models basically acting in them, and like the dialogue doesn't make sense, or there's bad cuts, or there's like these ridiculous like over the top visuals that are supposed to just like be there to put you in awe when it's really just like distracting you from how bad the writing is. It's a scam. It's a big old scam. It's crazy. They're geniuses. When people say like art is a scam, this is the kind of stuff that they're talking about. It's crazy. And all these people are good at is marketing. They're great at marketing nonsense. It's because like if you think about it, if you have like nonsense and you throw it on a screen, you can say whatever you want about it, and as long as it sticks to a few people, and those few people have like are spread word of mouth, and then all their friends go and they hear the narrative that you told them, and they tell that narrative to their friends, then you're going to be more susceptible to thinking that about the film when they go watch it. It's brilliant. It's actually brilliant how these people get away with it. Um, and I just think that the average moviegoer doesn't give themselves enough credit. Start questioning why these films don't make sense. Uh, and I'm not saying every Joe Schmo does this when they go watch a movie. Obviously, people have their own agency, and they're going to be like, well, why doesn't this make sense? But a lot of people go and they're just like, oh, it was good. And they think that because you had to like think about how bad it was, they don't think that they're thinking about how bad it was, but because they had to think about it like that, that it must be good. Like Knives Out is a perfect example. That series, oh my dear lord, what Ryan Johnson has got, you're wrapped around his thumb. Like, talk about movies that don't make sense and that are dumb and so contrived. His stories are so contrived. Like, you really have this detective who's so good, but all the information and everything he needs just falls into his lap. He doesn't really have to do any digging. And like in the first movie, you have that girl, like, oh, she just happens to throw up whenever someone lies. What kind of writing mechanic is that? What? How useful? How useful that you have during this murder case, there happens to be someone who can't tell a lie because they throw up. That's just so useful. And then, like stuff like that. Like there's all kinds of stuff like that. Just contrivance after contrivance. Things just happening because they need to happen. There's no cause and effect. There's no cause and effect. But like, and then he does all that, and then in conjunction with like a plot twist, because his whole thing is subverting expectations. Because if you subvert expectations, it must be good. Uh, as long as he subverts your expectations by doing a twist, and usually the twist doesn't make sense, it distracts from the contrivances, because then your mind is on, oh wow, I didn't expect that to happen, and then you're tricked because the narrative about subverting expectations is that it's good, even though it's not just good because you're doing it. What's the reason for it? Why does it make sense? They're big old scammers, man. They're scammers. It's crazy. And to bring this back to Stranger Things into the mainstream media a bit, Um, another scam employed is the writers in these companies getting the consumer to like make sense of their bad writing and their bad stories. For instance, like a lot of Star Wars fans who are diehard and they like can't fathom that, because there's a lot of fans who just cope. They're taking a lot of copium to get through how bad these new shows and these new movies are. So like whenever, let me give like a hard example. So in the Last Jedi, there's a moment. It's the hyperspace ram for those fans out there who know about this. Basically, there's something that happens in the film that can't happen. Like it doesn't make sense according to the rules of the world of Star Wars, right? Like until then, it doesn't like until it happens, and it doesn't make sense, and it kind of it's a space thing. So basically, the ship like hyperspace rams into another ship and it destroys it, and it doesn't make sense for how mechanically how it works, but it also ruins all previous space battles, because then it's like, oh well, why didn't everyone do this? You know, so it's damaging both because it doesn't make sense and because it ruins stuff that came before it. So it's disrespecting the previous work, and a lot of fans like they tried to find ways to make it make sense. Like they created all these like scenarios and all these stories, all these they created lore. They basically were writing to fill in the gaps. So that's another level of scam that bothers me, and it's like preying on these like on fans. They're like letting you do the heavy lifting of making their work make sense. It's diabolical, and they're getting paid. They're getting paid. Like they're making money off of it. They could just write. They can write like a story with all the gaps in the world, like a Star Wars story or whatever, a big franchise, and there will be a huge number of fans who will go out there and fill those gaps and not even be like mad about it. You're not even paying for the story. Like what? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's all these scams, all this fraud, and it's coming from uh, the big cheap money executives, and then it's also coming from the big ol' pretentious artist types that think that they're holier than thou, you know. To bring this all back to Stranger Things, this new Stranger Things season proved that there are a lot of people out there, a lot of general audience people that are they are not they're not falling for the traps anymore. They've grown wise to you out there, you hoity-toity ones, and you big ol' studio execs. They're growing wise to the slop. They're growing wise to it, and I just wanted to bring this up because I noticed it and I thought it was worth talking about. Um, but anywho, you guys, you guys, you gals, ladies and gents, you have a fantastic evening, and I will see you this Friday for the breakdown of the remainder of Stranger Things Season 5.